So welcome back into My Yiddish Mama Kitchen Bound. Thanks for joining us again, Kristen.
You're welcome.
And I want to talk about a very special recipe today. We're going to be doing zesty mock crayfish. What did you think the first time you heard me say to you, we're going to make mock crayfish?
Yeah, but when you think crayfish, you don't think a Jewish cookbook?
Absolutely not. For those of you who don't know, crayfish is not something that Jewish people eat. I certainly did not grow up eating crayfish. So anything that kind of crawls along the ocean bed, you can't eat it, whether it's a prawn or calamari or crayfish. So those are the things that you will not eat being Jewish. What we've done is we've made an alternative and quite a beautiful version of it. This is my wife's recipe. So I'm very excited to be cooking this today, and I thank you, Kristen, that you are going to make this look incredible and it's going to taste delicious. Yeah. Cara and I love food. Everybody that's watching, if you know us really well, you know that basically our whole lives revolve around food. I'm sure it's the same for you and your family.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So now, any tips for the viewers, like with crayfish, mock crayfish, is there anything nutritional about this?
Well, the fish has its high in protein, and we find fish is very high in amino acids, which is good for brain function. So that's always good to have.
Absolutely. So keep eating fish, guys, because your brain function needs to be particularly high at the moment while you're staying at home to come up with all cool things that you could be doing. Let's not forget the reason why we're doing this and why we call it Kitchen Bound is because people are stuck at home, and let's face it, we got to keep cooking, keep ourselves busy, make recipes, and basically get your family involved because this is something quite delicious. Kristen, what do you have on the table?
Right, so what I've done is I have pre-cooked the fish just gently in water. It's at a gentle simmer until it's you can just flake the fish.
Very nice, very nice.
Like that. And then what we have is some good quality mayonnaise, which is great. We've got some dill, which is always a first prize with fish. It just complements it so beautifully. Red onion, fresh lemon. If you don't have fresh lemon, which could be difficult to find at the moment, simply use bottled lemon juice as well will do. And then we have Tabasco. That is depending on your taste. So, you know, you can add as much or as little as you like. And tomato sauce.
Very nice, easy ingredients. Something that you should have in your shelf, on your shelf rather, in your kitchen, and really simple to make. I really want to encourage guys who have never had mock crayfish before, you should try this. It's delicious. And it goes with so many things. Like yesterday, we did a recipe for kichel, which is like a sugar biscuit, if you guys were watching. And you could have that sugar biscuit with this any day of the week, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Before we get going, let's sanitize our hands. And then we can get the fish.
Don't forget to sanitize, guys. It really is becoming pivotal that we are washing, we are sanitizing, and we are being super responsible with COVID-19. Thanks for reminding us, Kristen.
There we go. Let's grab the fish. Simply with our hands, we just, you'll see that it flakes beautifully because it's been gently poached.
Yeah. So guys, let the fish be flaky. Don't you be flaky. Make a recipe at home.
Be careful as you're flaking, sometimes you find a couple bones, just remove them. So just spreading this out and making sure that it's cool by the time we add the other ingredients, so we can just set that aside.
Beautiful.
There we go. So next we are going to use half a red onion.
Okay. Can you tell the viewers how to cut an onion so that you don't cry? Is there
no way.
Is there
if
no way?
If you'd like to wear goggles, you can do that.
So this is basically like listening to your Bobba's stories. At some point, you will cry. It's like an onion.
There we go. So what I like to do is top and tail the onion.
Top and tail?
Yeah.
Chef talk, guys. I've never heard that before.
Okay, so we're only using a half of this guy.
Okay, and you're going to dice him up?
Yeah, so we want the onion to be very finely diced.
Very cool. So while you're dicing that up, I'm going to talk a little bit about something like mock crayfish that I grew up eating. And on Shabbat, what you would do is that on a Friday night when you still can't cook because you're not allowed to like use heat instruments or cooking instruments on the Sabbath. So what you would do is you would make something hot for Friday night, but you would make something cold for Saturday afternoon. So quite often when you come home from shul, from the synagogue on a Saturday afternoon, you would come home to things like mock crayfish, which could be in the fridge, which could be served cold. And this is so easy to make, but it's actually quite luxurious. And it's weird when you grow up and you eat this kind of food. Even though it's just a little bit of fish with tomato sauce, a few spices, some chopped onion, mayonnaise, and a bit of lemon juice, sounds simple, but it was always such a luxurious meal. Like I felt like when I was eating mock crayfish, like, wow, these people really went out of their way to provide something stunning, you know? So this can be used in many ways too. So you're making the mock crayfish, but guys, get creative with this. What about something like an avocado Ritz?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
really beautiful.
Like you take an avo, you kind of cut it in half. Obviously, don't serve the pip. And the conventional way is you'd literally just fill the avo, maybe top it with a bit of smoked paprika or something like that, bit of seasoning, and you could serve that, and that's a real like winner at a party, right?
Absolutely. A crowd pleaser.
It's a crowd pleaser, exactly. It's a husband pleaser as well, for all you wives that are watching. It really is beautifully chopped onion, and you didn't cry. Or you're tearing up a little bit. See, I just started telling a story and she's already cried. Yeah.
There we go. So then we add the mayonnaise.
Nice.
Okay. Tomato sauce. Can you grab a spoon over there for us?
Any spoon?
That's it. You're just going to mix this together
I love
nicely.
being an adult, grabbing a wooden spoon as you're cooking.
And you can stir that together?
Oh, sure. I'm going to stir this together. Do I just kind of fold it in?
Yeah, fold it in. I'm just going to get some zest.
This really does look like a Thousand Island sauce, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it similar, do you think, in recipe to that?
I think minus the onion and fresh stuff, I think
it pretty much is Thousand Island sauce.
Yeah.
So there we go, Thousand Island sauce. If you have to cheat, if you don't want to make this and you've got a Thousand Island sauce in the cupboard, you can chop up a bit of onion and do what Kristen's doing and kind of make up your own version.
And I'm going to add some lemon juice.
There we go.
Always a great pairing, lemon juice and fish.
Yes. It's one of my favorite things about being in Cape Town. So whenever we come to Cape Town, I know that my wife has a few requirements that must get adhered to, and one of them is good old fish and chips.
Absolutely.
London isn't the only place in the world that makes fish and chips really well. Cape Town is spectacular.
And where's your favorite place to go?
Great question. So we were actually figuring this out during the week. So we've been to Lucky Fish in Cork Bay, which we thought was really great. Then there's Snookies in Hout Bay.
Yes.
And then there's another one that's called like the greatest fish place in Africa.
Is it Fish on the Rocks?
That's what it's called, Fish on the Rocks. What's your favorite?
We have been to Fish on the Rocks quite a few times.
Okay.
Which we find amazing. It's so great because you're, when we were there last time, we were sitting outside and a seal came from the water and waddled up to the restaurant and like sat there. My kids thought it was the best thing.
That is...
It's so precious.
Well, food is about experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can put a great piece of fish with a great story, you will never forget that.
So now we're going to add our beautiful fresh dill.
Lovely.
It can be as fine or as coarse as you
Very
as
fragrant old dill.
Oh, absolutely.
And great pairing with fish as well. Fish and dill's kind of married.
You can smell that licorice just
very
beautiful
nice
aroma coming from. Right.
Cool, so we're gonna put that inside as well.
Dill, you can fold that in nice and gently. Right, our fish is properly chilled now. So, okay, now you're going to gently fold the fish into that ingredient.
Okay, I gotta be gentle now.
If you are too vigorous when you stir this, we don't want to make mush.
Okay.
So we want to keep the fillets whole, so we're just going to fold.
Gentle. I'm going to be gentle about this. All right. Awesome. Exciting. I can't believe how easy this is, Kristen.
It's incredible. Okay, so let's fold that in.
You should be making this. This is so easy to make, and it smells incredible. Okay, now you got to fold it and just make sure that everything really does become yummy
Nicely
and
covered.
Coated and nicely covered.
And then you'll find you want your flavors to develop.
Yes.
So if you pop that into the fridge for about half an hour to an hour, the flavors will develop and chill, and you'll have this beautiful aromatic mock crayfish.
So the mock crayfish has cooled.
Okay, so remember yesterday we made these gorgeous kickel, and so
Sugar biscuits.
that's right,
Right.
sugar biscuits. So let's grab one of these and we can.
Remember
Take it
yesterday
down.
we said you can have anything on this, and we said even fish, and some of the camera crew was like, you can't put fish on a sugar biscuit.
Absolutely.
We're about to do that. Do you want to go first, chef?
Okay.
Lovely.
Okay.
It is Saturday. I am Jewish, so I should be eating this on kechel. Very cool.
Okay.
Right, should we go for it? L'chaim.
So complimentary.
That's wonderful. It really is wonderful. This is my childhood. This is what I ate growing up. This was Saturdays. It's novel, it's a treat. And I can't believe how easy this was to make. You know, growing up, I almost felt like when your parents did this or you went to people's house, it was like a real treat and someone went to like tremendous effort.
Yeah.
They did not. They spent 5 minutes making this and made you feel like they made you caviar. But it tastes like caviar. It's wonderful. Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
Enjoy.